out of nowhere.
Nobody tells me what I want!
One of the most violent video games on the market is breaking sales records around the world. Grand Theft Auto 5 brought in $800 million on its release date. That was on Tuesday. Since then, it's grossed over $1 billion. Popular series has made headlines with its controversial content, including death, drugs, and prostitution. The Parents Television Council says moms and dads should think twice before letting their kids play it. Dr. Greg Jans is a mental health expert. Thanks for coming in today. You know, lots of kids are exposed to this just seeing the commercials, and then it is rated M for mature, which means you're not supposed to play it below the age of 17, but we know kids get exposed to it. You've got boys.
I have 2 boys, 11 and 14,
boys.
yes.
What do you say to parents about this? What kind of effect does it have on kids, and what should parents know about it?
Well, 2 things. There's a common sense approach that says this is really not that good. Do I want this influence?
Right.
And that's the approach I take. There's also some research that's pretty good these days now that's showing the violent games really are not that helpful. Let's make it that simple. Okay? And, you know, here's a game that shows, you know, get out of the car, you slap a lady. What?
Right.
What are we teaching here? So there's the common sense. What does it do? There's the overstimulation of the brain for our youth. Research is real clear that we overstimulate the brain with too much screen time, whether it's this or other gaming, and this is age specific. This is why we know that later we create a craving brain that craves addiction. So the outcome either way is not good.
Can it cause a kid to actually become more violent?
There's a personality profile and traits that I'm going to say more kids, certain ones, are more prone to acting out than others. Will this make all kids violent? No. The question, though, is it really helpful for all kids? No.
And so you would say to parents, you know, don't buy this game, obviously, for your household. What would you say to them? Our kids go and visit their friends, and we don't know maybe what they're playing there. What do they do about that?
Okay, that's it right there. You're going to go over to your friend's house or your kid.
It's got a big brother.
Oh, I know, and there they are. And this is, remember, the games are designed to be intoxicating. So it pulls you in, high stimuli, and the game is doing things that you say you would never do, and that's part of the attraction. Okay?
Right.
So, you know, one of the things is we've got to keep an open dialogue with our kids. I will ask, and I'll ask my sons, look, I want you to make the best choice. I know I'm not there. And we'll talk about it later, but I want you to make the best choice. We want to keep building trust. Guess what? They're going to see and do things. Even standing at the supermarket grocery store checkout is not the best place to be sometimes.
True,
just looking at the magazines. So we've got to teach them what are they going to allow in and why is that important?
Yeah, a 17-year-old can actually go out and buy this game, and their brains are still developing as well, right?
Oh, our brains develop at about age 25. They're still growing.
So what do you do? I mean, some of the controversy here is this has an interactive torture scene in this game. I mean, a lot of people say it's gone too far, even for Grand Theft Auto. What about the kids who are 17, 18, late teens, early 20s? Right. What about them and the effect on them?
Well, I'm still concerned about that age group. Okay. The stimulation of the brain, and then what are we stimulating the brain with? Also, we're seeing, this is a trend we're seeing for those coming in for help. They've started off in some of the games, they've added other behaviors that could fall in an addiction category, and our kids begin to say and do things that I've had kids tell me, I'm really surprised I did that. And it begins to also change how they treat women, how they perceive the world. So, you know, let's go back to the common sense and say, you know what, this is really not good.
Ultimately, though, these games are as popular as any game that's ever been created. Aren't they just giving people what they want?
Giving people what they want doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing, does it?
Doesn't necessarily need it. Right?
We don't need it, and it's not the best thing. You know what, for our kids, there's a lot better options. We've got to design, I know I wrote a whole book around this, we've got to design for our families, what's our guidelines and boundaries around technology, the use of it, and what we allow, and what are we teaching our kids? And that includes texting.
So parents should steer clear of this particular
I'm going to give a major thumbs down.
Thumbs down, 0 stars.
And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to see some ramifications of this later on.
Wow. All right, Dr. Greg Jans, thanks
you
so much for joining us.